Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another live recording of the Managing Partners podcast. I'm Kevin Daisy. I'm your host, also the founder of Array Digital, where we exist to help you fill your pipeline using digital marketing. Today, we have a special episode. We actually have a previous guest that was on the Managing Partners podcast back in early September, and she had a story to tell and something to share. And she reached out and said, hey, I have something that happened to me as a managing partner and that she thought others would hopefully learn from and be able to prepare better for. So, Narissa, thanks so much for coming back on the show.
No problem.
So, I guess, this is a little bit different format. So we really want to just hear, tell us what went down, what happened, and tell us the whole story.
So the last episode that I recorded was pretty much about 6 to 7 days before I was hospitalized for 5 days. I was coming down with what I found out was COVID pneumonia, and I was checked in through an ER and in the hospital for 5 days. And as the only attorney working in my firm, and still getting phone calls, I was thinking about my health first, but then how to handle the firm second.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes I think, I've been in business for a while, but you think about the business more than you probably should sometimes.
Right.
Because that is your life sometimes. And, you want to take care of people and you just don't know what else to do. Sometimes you lay in bed and think about work and business and cases or whatever in your case, your clients. So,
yeah, I got a real big reality check. I had to get real vulnerable with my clients, which I typically personable, but not necessarily vulnerable, and had to let them know that, hey, I'm sick. I'm literally cannot look at your matters right now. We can't handle certain issues right now. And the things that I could handle, I actually had to onboard a VA really quickly and have another VA work on some pending matters while I was literally in the hospital bed. Luckily, I had onboarding material ready and some systems in place so that it would not be as difficult. And so I don't think if I had not had some of those systems in place, like my intake systems or some of the other instructional items written already, it would have been more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a power of systems and processes, and yeah, even if you're a sole proprietor, and I think a lot of folks I talk to that it's a lifestyle business. They want to be the sole proprietor, maybe not hire a bunch of people, and I can understand and appreciate that, but but if you don't have some things in place and some folks there to help you, you really could be down completely, and your business is at risk, or your health in this case. So
right, and so luckily, I mean, to be a solo is not my goal. So I was working on instructional materials for a paralegal, for an assistant, and so I had a very small amount of things available to them, so it wouldn't be as difficult as we were doing the substantive work.
But so you had something though, versus
I had something.
You didn't have what you want, but you started that process and you had some things in place, which I'm sure helped a lot.
And so I mean, any managing partner, I would say have some systems in place and have a backup plan. I do have other attorneys that if I had to be in there longer, that I could pass off matters to. So those things, I do have a contingency plan in that case. Excellent. But to have a contingency plan, always, because we don't think as we're working through these matters that in reality we're so engulfed in it, we just really don't think, what if this happens? What if this life thing happens?
Yeah, what if about your matters, right?
Right.
So no, that's a good point. And I think for a young attorney starting out or trying to go on their own, and there's going to be a little bit of time possibly before they can hire and get some help. And I think you made a good point there too. You don't have to go all in and hire or get a partner and um, split the business, or hire a high level like experienced person, a paralegal. There's what are things that you do on a day-to-day basis that you could get someone else to help you with until you get to the next place, which may be hiring a few other folks, maybe bringing on some other attorneys, associates, and things like that. But it's, there's some risk when you're by yourself and no
Absolutely.
one else to rely on. That's for sure.
Right. I
Um,
mean, there are plenty of places like Upwork. There are military spouses overseas, or even military spouses who are attorneys who can't practice necessarily where they're located, but want to do some kind of legal work. And so I reached out to my network, and I got so many resources of individuals like looking for positions. It was
oh
not
wow.
overwhelming, but I was glad that the resources were there.
Well, that's a good tip. That's good to know. I wasn't aware of those types of places where for your type of work.
Hmm.
But spouses overseas makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Or I guess military spouses that are in other states that may not be able to. That's interesting.
Right.
Um, well, thanks for sharing that. So you go to the hospital, and how are you able even to like coordinate anything at this point? I mean, I think you had some access.
luckily, I had a bit of a time before I was trained. The ER that I was in was like an ancillary ER, about 3 miles from the main hospital. So I had to
Yeah,
wait for transportation. And in that time, my husband brought like a laptop, change of clothes, things like that. And so I'm sitting in this hospital room. Nothing's really on TV. So I'm like, I could either watch Netflix, which I did. I did relax. I did, make sure I was taking care of myself. But I did also make sure to, set the away message and and send individual clients who had some things pending emails to let them know that, hey, this is kind of what's going on right now. And I think because of my filtering process with clients, I have some of the best clients out there.
nice.
So that even though they are going through what they're going through with their divorce and custody issues, they were like
Yeah.
completely understanding and still ask me like, "Are you okay?" every time we talk. And I'm like, just to have a client just put aside their issues for just that moment, just to say, "Hey, how are you doing?" As the attorney, normally we don't get those things, but I have some great, great, great clients.
Well, that's good. And I think it's another a good thing you're sharing there too is that you have a process, a filtering process, intake process, and you have really good clients that when something like that happens, they're not going to be going crazy and saying bad things or bad reviews, or they're going to let you get back to when or they want to make sure you're okay.
Right. And I'm sure that there's people who probably don't like me. I mean, just as being an attorney, it is what it is. But
Everyone
I
loves
do,
attorneys. Come
yeah,
on.
like, it is the nature of the job. But I hope that, we filter out like no a-holes, and we try to see as we're going through that consultation process, what type of individuals we are dealing with and what type of issues that they're dealing with and how they're going to handle those issues may make a difference on how we whether we accept them as clients or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, definitely glad you are okay. And if I would have known, I would have sent you something for sure.
Oh no.
Uh, but happy to have you on the podcast last time, and glad you can come on and share this story because I think it's important, especially for those ones again that haven't grown or don't quite want to grow, but which can be scary, and you want to, sometimes you want to do everything yourself, and no one's going to care about your business like you do, or do as good a job ever. But at some point, you have to, if you want a life and be able to walk away sometimes and relax, or if you're sick, you have to scale at least to a size that allows you to do that.
Yeah, there are
In my opinion.
definitely a lot of resources about systems and processes and trying to hire yourself. out of your practice or out of your business. Some things, like books that come to mind are like the 4 Hour Work Week, or like I mentioned before, E-Myth, and another book.
Yes.
Yeah, another
I
book
got
I've
E-Myth because of you, and I'm
been
not quite halfway through it, but
yeah.
I wrote that down when you told me about it, and I went and got it, just the audio version. So I listened to it on audio. I do better with the Audible myself, but so far it's awesome, and I'm like, man, I can relate. I think I'm past a lot of the first parts there, but
And a lot of us are technicians in our business and
there you
not
go.
necessarily owner operators or managers, right? So in E-Myth, they talk about those 3 different categories of people in their businesses, and they often tend to, especially attorneys or technicians, they don't come out of law school learning how to be the owners, the business owners, and how to operate in that way. We typically learn those things a lot later.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I've had so many attorneys on here talking with me, and it comes up often that I wasn't taught how to run a business. I was taught about the law, and next thing you know, you're running a business, and so there's a lot to learn in a little bit of time.
Now, I was lucky. I went to a law school that actually had a class of like
Really?
how to run
Very nice.
a law practice. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take the class because of scheduling, but they did
Oh wow.
one semester, and I think you're in the spring semester every year they would offer how to run a law practice class.
Wow. Well, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, most people sit there, like, just, they're kind of thrown in, or they have some mentors or whatever. That's about the best I hear. And everyone's got to kind of figure it out themselves. Just had a really great interview earlier today with a firm that is really grown tremendously. And they look, I mean, everything looks just beautiful in appearance, and their culture looks awesome. And they're, 100 and some employees, I think. But they were like, it wasn't always like that. It was toxic culture. It was a revolving door. So it took them some time to figure it out. And now they've got it to where they're doing very well, and 40% growth every year, and expanding to other states. And now it's about maintaining all of that culture and scaling without destroying everything. So
right. I think once you get to different levels, you have different challenges at every level.
Yeah, there's I always push the book Traction, which I have a
Oh
couple
yeah,
copies of.
love Traction. Yeah.
Great track. Yeah, I actually got to meet Gino Wickham, the author, probably after your podcast. It was in September. I met him, got him to sign it, and got to see him speak. But that's a great book, Traction, everyone, if you're listening. E-Myth, which Narissa told me about, which I'm currently listening to. John Fisher is another. He owns a personal injury firm, and he has a mastermind kind of group for personal injury firms. But he's got a book. So if you're an injury firm listening, I forgot. I think it's The Power of Systems by John Fisher. I haven't read that. It's for attorneys for the most part, but that seems like a good book by an attorney who actually runs a practice. So there's just a lot of good resources out there.
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
How to manage a small law firm. Groups like that are invaluable as well. So, tell me, and actually, the one thing you're talking about, like the different stages too. There's I forgot. I'm not sure if it's in Traction or not, but it's somewhere. But it's the valleys of death. So you have growth, and then you, for whatever reason, you just stop, and you got to try to figure something out. You got to change something in your business you're not prepared for, and then there's another growth spurt, and then you hit another one. So, yeah,
I think I need to reread Traction, because I think I'm at that point where it's kind of growth. And then we need to pivot in some kind of way.
Yeah. So that's just awesome that you have some help, and you're a little bit more prepared if something were to happen. But then I think there's other things too, like, you have a family, you want to go on a vacation, You want to take a week off or 2 weeks off or the holidays, we, as business owners, and I can relate to you on that because I am a business owner, not an attorney, but you got to, like you said, you got to get yourself out of the business a little bit. You got to get yourself out of the business completely if you can at some point and work on the business.
Right. And it's scary. It's like this baby. You don't want to hand over your baby to people who are not going to really love and care for your baby the way that you care. But that's part of developing cultures and systems and they always talk about this mission and values. And it's like, if you are living and kind of going by those things on a day-to-day basis, then you have people who also care about your baby. And it's difficult to do, but it takes some time to kind of figure things out.
Yep, I can tell you by experience. We're a little over 20 full-time people, and the core values and the mission has been huge for us. We've kind of tweaked the core values over time a little bit just to kind of make them better, but they ring true. But Traction's great for that too. I think that book will help you develop those. We've developed a system in-house that's kind of unique to any company where we use Slack, which is an internal communication messaging system for anyone listening. But we have a kudos channel. And so kudos would be like if I work with you, Narissa, you say if you help me on it with a client, you just stepped in and helped or gave me a piece of advice or something, whatever. And I could say, all right, +5 kudo points to you. But and then I got to say what you did, you helped me on this issue with a client and then you saved my butt.
Right.
And then I have to hashtag which core values you exhibited by doing that. So, and that's the way the system works. And we're like, we're kind of like coders, like Zapier masters, but my business partner actually put it in a sheet. So at the end of the week, there's a winner for kudos points.
I like that.
And the monthly winner gets a $300 cash bonus.
Oh yeah. That's definitely an incentive.
Yeah. And now the thing is the money's $300, but it's the whole company basically voted for you one way or another, as doing a really good job and helping everybody out. So it's really cool. And we have we got 5 core values, and they're at the top of the channel in Slack. And, you just have to, whether it's honesty or transparency, quality, passion. So whatever it may be, urgency, because with our clients, sometimes we have to act quick. So it's been a really cool way to use them every day. Like everyone knows our core values 100%. And I think the mistake that most people do is they'll write down some core values and then the owner knows them. Right. We care about them. And then
nobody knows what.
If I could ask anyone on my team, they'd be like, I can't remember, so think about something like that where you can make it, a weekly thing at least or a company meeting. When you're small, it's pretty easy, but we have a company meeting once a month now. We restate the mission. We restate the core values. We announce the winner for that month.
I like that idea. I might have to steal that idea from you guys.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's been really cool. And, it's just a way that makes sure everyone knows we're on the same page. And when we hire someone, we make sure we tell them, they make sure they know what our mission is. And then everybody's on the same page. So, and if you do that,
our mission and values are on our, I guess not the interview, but the form where we put out to anyone who's applying.
Okay, so they know before they even apply.
They know before they come in. Kind of.
Yep.
We're looking for personal responsibility, excellence, and things like that. And if if they are intimidated or they don't like the language or whatever the case may be, then of course they're not going to be a good fit. So it weeds them out really early.
Yeah. No, we hire and fire by core values, and it's pretty clear. And only our hiring process, we've gotten it pretty crazy where it's a lot of steps. So there's usually not a lot of people that get through the door that are just not good people or bad team players. But if it does happen, which is rare again, our team will let us know pretty quickly. You know, they'll come to us and say, hey, this something's not right, or we don't trust them or something. And so they're not going to be here very long, I guess.
Well, that's part of the growth process. That's kind of what I'm going through now is figuring out that hiring process, not the hiring process necessarily, but going through and figuring out what my next hire is going to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, we got like 20 some people, and it's still okay. Do we need to hire anyone? And if so, who is it next? And is it justifiable? How much is it going to cost?
Mm-hmm.
And then we look at that department, and if that's profitable. There's a lot of things you got to figure out. But even at 20 people, each hire is super important and risky. Or one or two hires, your first one or two, those are super important.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's trial by error,
Yeah, and it's important for me to make sure people are getting like living wages, and we don't offer that many benefits, but the benefit of working at home and being flexible in that way. So until we are able to offer those benefits, I kind of let them know, like, hey, this is kind of what we're growing to. This is kind of what we're working toward, and you're assisting in that, right? And if it works out, these are the things that we're looking to grow to. So I'm not hiding the ball. I'm not,
I love it.
Opening the door, kind of let them know what's going on. Because I feel like when I was a young attorney coming in, I just didn't know what was going on. I was just kind of there, like, this is kind of coming on. And there were times where I did not get paid.
Oh wow!
Right, and I'm like, what's going on? It's like, we'll
pay transparency. That's our biggest one. Well, I think that's good. What you need, your first few hires is anyone listening is in that right person where they believe in you for some reason, and they want to go with you, and they want to go along for the ride, and they know that they'll be rewarded, and you'll take care of them. So you need someone that wants to follow you. They believe you, and they believe in you.
Right.
Versus if someone's just like, well, if I don't get all these things, I'm not gonna. You need someone that's willing to commit a little bit and risk a couple things, but you say, hey, we're here now. Here's where we're going. And if you can paint that picture for them, and I think that's the hardest thing with owners and founders is, what you want, and your vision is pretty clear, but trying to get the whole team to see the same thing is difficult.
Right.
I don't know if it was in Traction. It might be in Traction. I forgot what book it was, but it's basically like it takes. Actually, I think it was when I saw Gino live. It was basically like it could take a year, 2 years if you have a big team if you had a new vision or a new mission rollout, like if you're trying to reestablish, it can take a long time to get everyone in the whole company to really be on the same page. You have company meetings every quarter, keep reinstating it, keep saying it over again, and in your case, you're small and you have the opportunity to start that way.
Yeah. So. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. What else is going on other than that you're up to? What's your focus is, I guess, for the end of the year?
Kind of wrapping things up. Planning for next year is a big thing that I am doing. It is getting a time where we are in Q4, so it's the final stretch, and kind of seeing where we were for the beginning years and beginning of the year to now, and then planning for next year.
Yep, that's great. Planning around this time is advised by I got a mentor that we meet with, and I remember we were like planning like January. We're like start planning some stuff. He's like, no, you need to be planning in October.
Right. I learned that like a few years ago. Like I felt like January was too late. Like everybody has their plans already in place.
Yep, you were too late at that point. So, no, that's really good. And you do a lot of divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's kind of seasonal in the sense of usually January, February is more.
I'm about to make another launch in probably the beginning of the year, so I'm trying to plan for that as well, where we're going to offer another service that is less attorney focused and more individualized focus, so that those with uncontested divorces work on it themselves.
Oh, nice. Okay, I've heard actually more about that. I've actually had a few companies reach out that's all they do. They're not attorneys at all. And,
It's beginning to be a trend, and I know a few attorneys in other states that have something similar. Aaron Levine comes to mind with Hello Divorce out in California. I think they are in Arizona now.
okay.
But they are looking at other states as well. And so just offering something for people here in Georgia, just a small course so that they can walk through it and make it easier for them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And again, I've had a few companies reach out to me directly about hiring us to do marketing for them, but we only work with law firms. And they're not law firms. And I'm like, so it's kind of a gray area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit of a gray area because you got those who can offer forms in certain states. I know here in Georgia we don't have that option where you can have a non-attorney do forms and submit them for you. But places like California, they have or Arizona, I can't recall where it is. They have certified document preparers.
Interesting.
Can't provide legal advice though.
But you can.
I can.
Well, that's awesome. I love what you're up to. You're planning ahead and rolling out some new stuff. So that's awesome. I'm glad you're better.
I am. Thank you.
Have any side effects or anything since then, or you're good to go?
No, and we've been lucky. My son and my husband were not. They tested negative, and everyone else is not exhibiting any symptoms. It was just me. So I got sick, and then I had to come home and be in quarantine. So. So I kicked my son out of his bathroom, and we just kind of had me quarantined into the guest room.
I'm sure you worked while you were quarantining, huh?
Yeah, I moved everything into the quarantine area. So I had a small IKEA glass table and a folding chair. That was my office for about 10 days.
So COVID pneumonia.
Mm-hmm. That's what they called it.
But it was COVID-19.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, well, crazy story. I really appreciate you sharing it with us. And,
thank you for inviting me back.
Yeah. I'm glad to have you back. And hopefully it's a good lesson for folks listening, especially if you're a sole proprietor. Or, I mean, you don't have to be a sole proprietor. You could have 20 people, but you haven't really let go. Right. And, things don't run without you being there. That could probably be worse, actually. So, get those people in place.
Can run off the rail real fast.
Yeah, get some people in place. Get people that like you, that trust you, they love you, they want to work for you, they want you to lead them. Find those good people, and make sure you can take care of yourself when you need to. So, well, anything else you'd like to share before we go?
Systems. This is
the process.
And hire according to your values.
I love it. I'm on the same page. I agree with everything you said. And again, glad you're better and you're ready to crush it for Q4 and then going into next year. So, well, stay in touch and let me know how things are going.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
All right. You can hang on with me for a sec. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for this special episode. We'll have this up on the website. Narissa's actually already up on there. If you go and search, you can filter either by divorce or Georgia, and she'll come right up. And we're approaching 150 managing partner interviews this year. But this second episode, you can find her by doing that same thing soon. It'll be up on the website, arraylaw.com/podcast. And like always, if you need any assistance growing your firm, marketing, websites, please reach out and let us know if we can help you. We'll just answer questions if you just don't know what to do. If you're a sole proprietor just starting out, I'm happy to point you in the right direction on DIY or someone that's maybe less expensive than us. Let me know. So I'm happy to help. Narissa, have a good day. I'm glad you feel better.
Thank you.